Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello my dear friends. This is an English lesson for 3rd grade. Inshallah we are going to read a very nice story called A Fine Fine School by Sharon, Creech and pictures by Bliss. Let's start. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله. A Fine Fine School by Sharon, Creech and pictures by Bliss. Essential question. What are the parts of a story? Meet the author, Sharon Creech. When Sharon Creech is working on a book, she sometimes gets stuck. She doesn't know what to write next. When that happens, she goes for a long walk, does some laundry, or cleans the bathroom. Then she returns to her computer and starts writing again. Meet the illustrator, Bliss. Sharon Creech thinks that the illustrations Bliss drew for A Fine Fine School are very funny, especially the ones with Telly's dog in the background. Bliss is a cartoonist whose comic strip appears in daily newspapers. He and his family live in Vermont. Target vocabulary: principal, soared, strolled, worried, proud, announced, fine, certainly. Target skill: story structure. Name the setting, character, and the plot in a story. Target strategy: summarize. Tell the important part of the story in your own words. Genre: humorous fiction. Humorous fiction is a story that is written to entertain the reader. Mr. Keene was a principal who loved his school. Every morning, he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers and letters. He saw them reading and writing and drawing and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. "Oh," he would say, "aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school?" Near Mr. Keene's school, Telly lived with her parents and her brother and her dog Beans in a small house next to a big tree. On Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Telly went off to school. At school, Telly learned her shapes and colors and numbers and letters. Sometimes when she saw Mr. Keene standing in the hallway, he waved. "Aren't these fine children?" he said to himself. "Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school?" On the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, Telly climbed her favorite tree and she took Beans on walks and threw him sticks. "Let go now, Beans!" And she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him how to skip. "Be one with the skip!" But on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Telly went off to school. Beans and her brother did not like to see her go. "Hurry, hurry, hurry home!" her brother called. One day, Mr. Keene called all the students and teachers together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have schools on Saturdays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so, that Saturday, Telly set off for school. "But it's Saturday. What about the swings?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene announced, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Sundays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers, of all the learning they were doing every day. And so, that Sunday, Telly set off for school. But it's Sunday! What about the skipping? Her brother called. Stop and think. Author's craft. Find places on pages from 17 to 21 where the author repeats words and sentences to make the story more fun to read. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together again and said, "This is such a fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summer too. All summer long, every single day." "How much we will learn," he said. "We can learn everything. We will learn all about numbers and letters and colors and shapes, the Romans and the Egyptians and the Greeks. We will learn about dinosaurs and castle and everything. We will learn everything." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and all the summer long, every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so, on the first day of summer, Telly set off for school. "But it's summer! What about summer?" her brother called. Stop and think. Story structure. What is the main problem in this story? Which story character is responsible for this problem? And that day, Telly went to see Mr. Keene. She stood in his office in front of his desk. "What a fine school this is," Mr. Keene said. "What amazing things everyone is learning."
"Yes,"
Telly said.
"we certainly are learning some amazing things."
"A fine school," Mr. Keene said.
"But,"
Telly said,
"not everyone is learning."
"What?" Mr. Keene said. He looked very worried. Who isn't learning? Tell me and I will see that they learn."
"My dog Beans hasn't learned how to sit."
Telly said.
"And he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek."
"Oh," Mr. Keene said.
"And my little brother hasn't learned how to swing or skip."
"Oh," Mr. Keene said. "And I," she said. "But you go to school," Mr. Keene said. "To our fine school."
"True,"
Telly said.
"but I haven't learned how to climb very high in my tree. And I haven't learned how to sit in my tree for a whole hour."
"Oh," Mr. Keene said. Stop and think. Summarize. In your own words, summarize the things Telly and others are not learning because of the extra school days. That day, Mr. Keene walked up and down the halls, looking at the children and the teachers. Up and down he walked, up and down, up and down. The next morning, Mr. Keene called everyone together. The children and the teachers were very worried. Mr. Keene said, "This is a fine school with fine children and fine teachers. But not everyone is learning." The children and the teachers were very worried. Mr. Keene said, "There are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks." What did he mean? Was he going to make their dogs come to school? There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip. What did he mean? Was he going to make their younger brothers and sisters come to school too? The children and the teachers were very worried. And you, all of you, children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and sit in it for an hour, Mr. Keene said. The children and the teachers were very worried. And so from now on we will not have school on Saturdays and Sundays or in the summer. A huge, enormous roaring cheer soared up to the ceiling and floated out the windows so that everyone in the town heard the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers shout, "Fine, fine, fine!" And the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers lifted Mr. Keene up, and they carried him down the hallway and out the doors, and through the town, up and down, in and out. And everywhere they went, the people said, "What a fine, fine school, with such fine, fine teachers and fine, fine children and a fine, fine principal." Now it's your turn. School's out. Write a list. Thanks to Telly, Mr. Keene understands that some important things can be learned only outside of school. What are some of these important things? List them and tell why they are important. Please, Mr. Keene, perform a skit. Imagine you are a student at Mr. Keene's school. With a small group, perform a short skit. In your skit, try to get Mr. Keene to see that school should not be held on weekends or during the summer. Turn and talk. A fine, fine story. Work with a partner to retell the main events of the story. Ask questions to help each other remember what happened. And now we've come to the end of our story today. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends. Thank you. Bye, dear. Bye.